Schatz in particular seems pretty excited about all the news that dropped.
Schatz loves Disney.
Yeah.
You're the biggest Disney fan I know.
I was like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? And he's like, yeah, can we talk about the D23 stuff? Another Pixar movie coming up. Toy Story 5 comes to the theaters summer 2026.
So dumb.
What's your guys' excitement level for Toy Story?
0. It is 0.
Does that give you a bunch of confidence for Daredevil Born Again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, guys. The Fantastic Four, growing up, it was Fantastic Four and X-Men for me, were the greatest comics. Dr. Doom is, in my opinion, the greatest comic book villain to ever been put to paper. Like, he is truly incredible.
Not just hire Cillian Murphy like people fan casted to play Dr. Doom.
Because you don't get that immediate hit of everybody who's seen the last decade of movies.
Yeah,
But
so
doesn't
that's
that make you nervous, though, that they're just
relying on leaning on the
because
they're making the best story possible? They're relying on bringing Robert Downey Jr. back?
when they
But you say bringing him back, he didn't want to come back.
Welcome to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
we're your hosts,
Andrew,
and Arron, with Schatz.
we post new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And on today's episode, we're talking about all the Disney... all the Disney news from D23.
D23, 2, 1,
Action. Bum, 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 bum. Yes, we have not done our introduction very well with you being here today. That's two episodes that we've messed
That
up.
was a killer segue.
It's because we've been lost in your eyes.
Oh,
Yeah.
guys.
I can't, I'm trying to look at the camera and I see you over here and I just get distracted.
Yeah, build me up.
All right, guys. So today we're talking about some stuff we're excited about, some stuff we're not so excited about. We'll go through a lot of the big news from D23. We kind of combed through it here. We got an article to help us out. And we are going to kind of succinctly try to give you guys this information and our thoughts on it without all the fluff so that you don't have to do the research on D23 yourself. You can watch this one video, the one-stop shop.
Oh, Schatz in particular seems pretty excited about all the news that dropped.
Schatz loves Disney.
Yeah.
You're the biggest Disney fan I know.
I was like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? And he's like, yeah, can we talk about the D23 stuff?
In case you didn't know, Disney owns everything. So this is just news for all
Disney
media.
does own everything. It's like Britain. Everything the sun touches.
Everything the light touches is ours. They own, what, obviously Disney. They own Pixar. They own Fox, Marvel,
Star Wars.
Star Wars. So everything in media.
The Simpsons. They
they're
own,
under
they
Fox,
own
yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
We just talked. They own Alien now because they own Fox.
The only thing they don't own yet is Warner Brothers. And then when they get Warner Brothers, it's over. They're going to buy Warner Brothers when
we'll see.
A24.
Warner Brothers also be buying like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
they own
Warner Brothers, Max, Discovery. It's all one.
Yeah, they own Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network.
They, have,
Monopoly laws.
they're not
are.
real. I swear they're not real.
They just got Google finally for anti-monopoly stuff like 2 weeks ago. So
Really?
like, yeah,
How does Verizon own like the cell towers and they're selling you the phones that use them? Like that seems like a monopoly. They own the line of production, and the source. Like it's kind of crazy.
So anyway, the FTC.
The FTC don't mess with me. Okay, let's talk
Let me
about
be
D23
me, so let me
news.
see.
What's the first piece of D23 news you guys
What we
wanna
got?
look at? While we're pulling that up, I do want to say thank you for clicking on and watching this video. We appreciate you a ton. We love you so much, especially Schatz. He loves you the most. And make sure that you like and subscribe on this video.
These eyes.
So this is the list of all of the stuff that was announced. So
That first one up there is one of the biggest.
do you guys want to go through and like name everything or just kind of touch on the ones that we're excited for?
I think we can name everything, but we don't have to talk about each one.
Yeah, we'll talk
Because
about
like literally Avatar, it just has a title. That's all there is,
So touching on what Schatz just mentioned, one of the first pieces of big news is that the third installment in the Avatar trilogy, will be trilogy from James Cameron is coming out, and it's going to be called Avatar: Fire and Ash.
Yeah.
So they've gone to the trees, right?
First you
then,
had Earth,
and then they went to the water,
and then water,
and now they're going to what I think is a volcano for fire and
fire.
ash.
So what's the fourth one we're missing then?
Air.
Air.
So
Yeah.
maybe a civilization higher up in the clouds or something.
Maybe the first one's Earth and Air. Kind of
No. They're gonna split it up.
It's gonna be
4.
five.
There's
movies,
5
isn't it?
movies. Yeah. So what's the 5th? That's the bigger
That's where
question.
Captain Planet actually shows up as the new blue entity.
That's where they reach the 4th dimension, and it's space and time.
Yeah.
So this 3rd Avatar installment, I think they did show some concept art too for the new Na'vi that are going to be in this region because they're very culturally based in their regions. The people are kind of closely intertwined with where they live in the elements. Obviously, the way the water people are connected to the animals of the sea, those creatures like we saw is a big deal of the culture. So now we got a little bit of concept art that you can look up online in D23 showing this new outfits and new environment of the Na'vi. They're just going to travel around the globe.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they filmed Way of Water and this movie back to back.
They did.
And it's scheduled to come out December 19th, 2025.
Yes.
Think it's actually going to come out that date?
I do. Yeah.
It's a lot of time
Because
for post-production.
Originally, they were in a row. It was going to be like 2022, 2023, 2024. Yep. That was a pipe dream. That was never going to happen. But you're right. They did film both of them together. So I feel like this will come out on time. They're not doing it this year. They could have rushed it to come out this year.
Yeah.
That's what, like, when they said Beyond the Spider-Verse was going to come out the year after.
That was also a pipe dream.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like skeptical right now, because last year's D23, basically everything has changed.
Because this movie is filmed, I'm confident they're going to hit that date, because ILM is, if anybody's going to hit their deliverables, it's them.
Yeah, well, there's something a little bit lower down the line that we're probably going to not talk much about called Elio. And I remember me and Arron talking about this animated movie Elio when we covered D23 last year. So that's something that was pushed. That's already an example at the top of the list here. I mean, that was definitely supposed to come out sooner, and it got shelved with everything that was going on.
Yeah, it says next year for Elio now. I don't even remember them talking about it, to be honest.
Their slate is just way too busy. And one thing we can get into later in the episode or now is just the concept of, well, let's talk about this at the end. The concept that Bob Iger made a statement about quality over quantity. And maybe they just haven't had enough time to slow the brakes because all this stuff was already in production. But at the end of this, let's talk about if we think they've actually done that after we talk about all these quantity of projects.
After we talk about how they're ruining Pixar.
Okay, speaking of Pixar, that's the next thing on this list. Monster Jam. Is this about monster trucks?
Is this in the Cars universe?
Yo, it should be. Why wouldn't it be? Everything else they announced is basically a sequel. I don't know why they wouldn't call it Cars 4 Monster Trucks.
Planes was already such a smashing success.
It appears to blend the aesthetics of Cars film franchise with the impressive.
Yeah, so instead of making a Cars sequel, it's like a Cars. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It says coming. Doesn't have a date. Cool.
So we have an idea.
Be on the lookout.
Listen, audiences.
Eventually.
We have a plan.
Another Pixar movie coming up. Toy Story 5 comes in theaters summer
so
2026.
So dumb. Guys.
What's your guys' excitement level for Toy Story 5?
0. It is 0. It is such a dumb idea.
I'd say it's like a 1.
0?
Now they get to fight against iPads.
Yeah, so that's this. So they released concept art which showed a child playing with like an iPad with the toys in the background looking demoralized and sad and emotional because the concept of modern, screens and modern technology taking over, and kids don't have as much imagination. They don't play with their real practical toys as much, and now the toys are sad. Which to me, I mean,
this is a movie that has to be told.
We needed the 5th install. Also, how is Woody in the concept art? How is he back with the toys?
We didn't need the 4th one, guys. Let's be honest.
What was the point of the 4th one if he's back with them? That was the whole point of that movie. Was him leaving. I hated it.
No, it's what you said. It's Pixar was bought, and now Pixar just makes movies. It's not like it's Brad Bird like lovingly crafting all these amazing ideas we love, and now they make money. They're going to make sequels until they die.
I think they had such a bad year where they were so deep in the red in the last since COVID basically. And then they were like, what do we know people love? Frozen, Moana, Toy Story, Incredibles. Like
spoilers.
We're going to get to some of those other ones, but they basically are afraid to make new projects now. I mean,
they are.
Like, because
it's too much of a risk to come in with new IP instead of just doing like, hey, you guys remember this thing? Let's do it. They're making fucking Mufasa.
But
it's the same exact thing.
Onward and Luca are both great, and Soul is good too. And all those animated movies came out around the pandemic era, but they're just kind of forgotten about because they didn't get good theater releases.
But they're all well reviewed, and they're great movies. Like they're made movies, very well.
I agree.
Toy Story 5 is unnecessary. It just straight up is. And what especially bugs me is every time they make a new one, we're like, this is it. We found a story that we have to tell, and this is the last one.
I hate that they made 4. I think 3 was a good swan song for the crew.
3 was amazing.
And it touched on the idea of generations of toys. I mean, you don't grow up and play with your toys when you're 25 for the most part.
For yourself.
Sorry, Zach.
Obviously, they haven't made this yet. They haven't made 5 yet, but it's that same thing you were saying. It's like this story, how different is it going to be from 3? 3's already about generations and like coming to terms with being an adult.
And then
that's going to be this movie again.
The toys go on and spread new joy. I mean, they don't need...
It makes me cry.
Is there going to be a talking iPad in this? Like, beefing with them? Like the way the Etch and Sketch communicates? And,
I promise you, I'll bet money that there's going to be a Nintendo Switch that is animated and talking to them. Some kind of video game console for sure.
It'll be like an off-brand Nintendo Switch that won't have the logo.
No, it'll be red and blue. Like exactly.
I'm kind of frustrated by this. It seems very much like a certain mind of thinking that I don't approve of. I mean, I think that it's all about how you use it, right? There's an appropriate way to use screens and screen time in games. Games can foster a lot of intelligence. They can foster a lot of improved hand-eye coordination. They have good storytelling and creativity in games the same way they do in books and movies. It's just about how you introduce a kid to it and how much time they spend doing it. I mean, there is a healthy amount of time to spend in the real world. We can't live in a digital space. Like, you have to go out and use your imagination, and fostering those skills are important too. But you can foster creativity and intelligence, imagination with those electronics as well. I hope the movie acknowledges that balance is the same thing anywhere in life.
Wow, that got deep.
Yeah, we'll see.
See, this is why the story needs to be told.
I don't think they're going to do any of that, but we'll find out.
I think I could see them just condemning screens and be like, kids need to go outside and play stickball. Hopefully that's not the case.
We have Elio. I'm going to kind of name off a few here. We can talk about the bunch. Elio.
Summer 2025.
Incredibles. Doesn't have a release date. Zootopia 2, 2025. Another Pixar film, Hoppers, coming 2026.
Hoppers? What is that?
Actually, it's John Hamm and Bobby Moynihan in a body swap movie about beavers and a human.
Okay.
Naturally, guys.
That sounds terrible. I mean, I like John Hamm and Bobby Moynihan.
Actually, I thought the art for this looked pretty cool.
Yeah? It's all animated?
Yeah,
these are all
it's all animated.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like the art style of the Wild Robot a little bit.
Okay. So John, if you guys don't know, John Hamm is the big star from Mad Men, and Bobby Moynihan's from Saturday Night Live. He's very funny.
Who doesn't know who John Hamm is?
Just in case.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm old. I know who John Hamm is.
I thought people might not know who Bobby Moynihan is, and I thought it'd be rude to only explain who he was.
Yeah.
There you go. Bobby Moynihan does a hilarious character called Forvel. Fievel's stabby younger brother. And he goes, I'm Forvel. I'm going to come over there and stab you. You stabbed me.
That's a spot-on impression. I'm assuming I've never seen it.
No. Bobby Moynihan's hilarious.
Sounds like Forky or...
Forky, yeah.
From Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Everything comes back to Toy Story 4, the cultural relevance.
Speaking about just trying to make a bunch of money, Frozen 3.
Yeah, I think the first two have both made over $1 billion.
Frozen 3 at least makes sense to me. Because that is
a trilogy.
Well, yeah. But those movies have come out and they keep making those sequels, whereas like Toy Story and Incredibles were almost 20 years old when they started making like Toy Story 3 and Incredibles 2.
Yeah, what do you think of Incredibles 3?
I am excited because Brad Bird is making it.
Incredibles.
Oh, I didn't know.
He is writing and leading the project. So
he didn't work on 2, right?
He oversaw 2 for sure. I don't know if he wrote the script, but that movie was also in the can for so long before they actually finished it.
2 was good, and people give it a lot of flack. It's just not as good as the first one.
Doesn't have to be.
It's
just has to be entertaining.
It's still good.
It's entertaining as fuck.
And the third one, might be the thing on this list that I'm most excited for. I'm so pumped for an Incredibles 3. I hope that because a lot of times movies have a second movie slump in a trilogy. So I think 3 could come back and be close to the greatness of 1. 1's one of my favorite animated movies of all time.
1's really good.
Yeah, I agree. And 2, I think, is highly forgettable.
It's the same problem with a lot of these. You end up making the same movie. And if you're making the same story beats and you already revere that first one, like you're gonna just remember the first one more.
They should have just had the Undertaker be the main villain for the whole thing.
Underminer.
Yeah.
The Screen Slayer is also the same metaphor as Toy Story 5. The Screen Slayer, because the Incredibles are family movies, the Screen Slayer, the screen being the enemy, is kind of overtly a metaphor for the same message as Toy Story 5, that screens are bad. And they're displaying that on what?
Screens are bad, but yeah, like check out the screen and watch it.
Mandalorian and Grogu. coming out 2026.
Sounded like you said Goku.
He said Grogu. Yeah.
What did I say?
You said it with
You said it like Goku.
like the Goku remote.
Okay.
Grogu.
I
Yeah,
don't
whatever.
care.
I don't care.
It's a movie, so that's cool to see Mandalorian on like a movie budget, but I don't feel strongly about it.
Star Wars is honestly kind of dead.
Star
to
Wars
me.
with no Jedi, I'm so pumped.
It's just kind of dead to me.
Freaky Friday, Lilo, and
Freakier
Stitch.
Friday, isn't it?
So it is a sequel reboot of this movie with the same cast 20 years
It
later.
does say
It's
Freaky
Jamie
Friday.
Lee Curtis and
That's
Lindsay
got to
Lohan
be
again.
one of the most unnecessary things in all of D23. This one actually gets me heated.
Yep.
Like,
Gets me
like
heated.
Freaky Friday is a good movie and it's fun and
It's great,
I like
yeah.
it. I mean, Lindsay Lohan is great in that movie. It's like her in her heyday, but why do we need a 20 years later remake of it? What, they're going to switch bodies again?
Yeah, dude. It's,
Why?
do you remember? You remember? That's all it is. Remember?
They're like, we switch bodies. How crazy would it be for us to switch bodies again? Like,
No one would see it coming.
how long did you think on that in the writer's room, for one? And for two, like, this crazy life-altering thing to happen to them, and then like 20 years later, they just switch bodies again? Like,
Realistically, I bet you they can make this movie for $20 million and it'll make 10 times that amount and they'll call it a day and it's profitable.
but they'll probably make it for like 80 million instead for no reason. Like, you know what I mean? They just inflate these budgets like crazy.
Oh, good. They got Chad Michael Murray back.
Oh my God.
I was worried he wouldn't be in it.
Yeah, I was worried that they broke up. Like, also, wasn't he like an adult dating a high schooler in that movie?
He was clearly like in his 20s.
Well, yeah, an actor for sure. Yeah.
Okay. What about the live action Lilo and Stitch?
That's got to be the second most unnecessary. I'm tired of these live action movies. Although you should definitely go see Mufasa Lion King story in theaters this December.
It's
on my box office.
and it's just nothing but it's cash grabs, man. That's all it's it's
I thought-
obviously cash grabs.
I thought the teaser though looked good. The
Yeah,
CGI
it looks
of
cute.
Stitch.
Sure.
I saw a lot of people complaining about it, and I don't.
No, the CGI looks great.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen
It
is
looks like the characters.
yeah, they're going to
would
make Sonic
look.
the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
Is what it's going to
yeah,
look like.
I-
You're going to have an animated character with all these real people, and it's going to be fine. It's going to be exactly what it is.
Mhm.
I feel like he looks kind of like the first version of Sonic to me, though. Like he looks a little.
No, I think he looks kind of
No,
perfect.
I don't think so
I
at
think
all.
he looks really good.
See, that's the common complaint I've heard, and I don't think that's the case at all.
No, I honestly think they did a really good job. It makes me want to see it in action.
I've only seen a couple seconds of it. I'm not going to judge the look of Stitch too harshly yet, but what I will judge is the concept of making the movie
Sure.
because it's not good.
Well, why are we making live action Snow White?
Why are we dude,
Like-
that footage looked awful.
Yeah.
Why not just hire, like, they used to hire little person actors.
Oh, dude, Peter Dinklage was furious. He had a whole thing he put out.
As they should be. Why would they CGI? If you're going to CGI it, at least it should hold up. It looks terrible. Just hire people.
Because they're not people.
Yeah.
In the terms of their thing, they're these mythical,
He means the
magical
visuals
entities.
in the movie, by the
Sorry,
way.
yes. In the movie, these characters are
Good
doing
save.
these characters do fanciful things. They're not people. Like they're
Yeah.
climbing on each other. They're being lifted by birds and shit. Like
And they're standing next to the real person just
Right.
to affirm to you that they're not real and they look bad.
it's messed up. But I can understand why, from like someone writing it, would be like, oh, let's just make them animated, you know.
Yeah.
But from a reality perspective, they're humans. They're still human beings. Cast them as human beings.
And I get why Peter Dinklage would be annoyed because there are swaths of little person actors out there,
yeah.
people with dwarfism, like they want to work in Hollywood. And when you have that 1 in 100 movie that has a role that they can be in, and then instead choose to animate them, it would be frustrating.
Mhm.
Aaron,
It's a weird, honestly, other than I did enjoy the Jungle Book remake that John Favreau did.
That
Other
was
than
one of
that,
the first ones,
it
right?
was
that
literally
they-
the first
yeah.
one. Every single one after that, I thought has been quite poor. Specifically because they're just making the same movie. They're not changing things. It's like here's almost scene for scene the same exact
Mufasa's
movie.
changing
don't
things,
worry,
right?
Mufasa's changing a ton.
Mufasa is all from new. It's not like
Mufasa is not the actual brother of Scar and not the actual bloodline heir to the throne. He is adopted. He was an orphan. So that's a retcon.
hey Andrew, I got a question for you. Who cares?
Me, I don't care.
Who cares?
No, I agree with you. I don't care. I don't even like the
Yeah.
Lion King very much.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. You guys, I don't know where things come out if you've seen the Romulus episode, but I go pretty hard on my prequels. Shouldn't be a thing. You have to invent questions to answer in your prequel that inevitably will lead to more questions. Doesn't matter that Mufasa was adopted. Doesn't matter that we know how he became king. No. All that matters is that he sacrificed himself in a very powerful moment to make his son the new king in the movie that exists already.
Yeah, I don't think that his origin story needs to be told, but I do think that you should go check it out in theaters this December.
You guys got a side hustle going on over here.
Moving on.
Side plot.
I think that's a wrap for all the movies.
I think that's a wrap on Pixar, specifically.
Oh, okay.
Is that how it's organized?
Well, then.
Well, because obviously there's the Marvel
This is
stuff
animated shows
too as well. I think you just went through animated.
Pixar doesn't make shows.
I think you're right. Well, Freaky Friday isn't animated. Freakier Friday.
Do we know that for sure? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Must be movies.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because what new Marvel movies were announced?
Nothing new,
more
but there's
news on
footage and
existing
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Star Wars series.
They did announce that Blade is happening still. They made for certain to let you know that's coming out.
Don't worry.
Next year it's happening still.
Oh
Dude,
my
that's
God.
crazy.
We don't have a script yet, but
Or director.
Yeah, we could actually, if you want, after they did release their stuff and they have like their movies coming out in the next 3 years and they have their placeholders. That they did that at D23.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll look that up. We have Skeleton Crew, Star Wars series.
which has Jude Law, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, but I still don't really care about Star Wars series too much.
It's another
just been too much.
It's another non-Jedi series.
So the only they've really muddied the water and it has been pretty poor overall. The only thing that makes this one seem kind of good is it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni who did Mandalorian and who have the head on their shoulders that know Star Wars.
I mean, even The Mandalorian I fell off of.
Disney loves Jon Favreau. I mean,
He did the Jungle Book and Lion King. Those
And
live
Iron
action
Man.
remakes. And oh yeah, that's Disney now as well. But
yeah.
Jon Favreau makes money. He gets it done. I'm Star Wars out.
Andor
I
season
agree.
2 for your Star Wars cure.
Honestly, Andor was the best thing they've done, I think, out of all of these TV shows.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
I could watch it and
didn't
or
finish it.
not watch it.
No.
Did you get to the heist sequence?
I got halfway through wherever they were, like camping. Like
Did you see
outside
Mando?
of the? No.
Okay. So like halfway through, they do a heist and then it actually like the show gets a lot better. They introduce new characters and things happen. But
I have
also
to get through 4 slow episodes.
well, listen to
for
me.
it to
Like
get better.
you're entirely correct. Like overall, I think all of the Star Wars stuff has been pretty mid, if not outright bad. Andor is the only thing I've enjoyed of like TV shows, and the first season of Mando. So we'll see.
I can't. I lost my license to talk about Star Wars content. Apparently,
This is kind of confusing. Why is Ironheart right here? Is that a show?
Ironheart is a show that is done in the can from 2 years ago. It is Marvel. So in the last Black Panther, the black girl who makes the suit and helps Shuri.
It was a movie for some reason.
I thought it was gonna be a movie
so
too.
it was Armor Wars was the movie. That was going to be with
That's right.
War Machine and stuff. That's been canceled. It's being reworked also because of all the roadie shit with the scrolls. They have to rework all that. But Ironheart is a show that's been done. Essentially, she's really smart. She gets to work. She makes her own Iron Man suit. Then she meets Tony Stark, and it helps her kind of be a hero. In the comics, she takes over for Tony Stark when Tony Stark is in like a coma or something. He's unavailable. She takes over as Iron Man.
So this is done from 2022.
This show
which
has
means
been in
that
the
the
can.
show's not going to be good, right?
So that's the thing we don't know because obviously they do all the reshoots. It's going to basically be what is the one piece of information they're going to shoehorn into the show to make it relevant to their greater story at large. Because
that's how Marvel shows
when
work.
the original teaser, it's her and Rhodey, and now that Rhodey is no longer a person,
The original
so
teaser
they have
from
to
like
retcon that somehow.
the original teaser's from like a Disney Expo like 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2022. It says like
Crazy.
the show is done. Like the show has been in the can. They just haven't had a place to release it because last year they slowed all their stuff, and now it doesn't make sense to slot into them having to pivot away from Jonathan Majors. So the show is just like in limbo until they find a spot to place it.
Okay. Well,
Oh yeah, Riri Williams is her name in the movies.
does that give you a bunch of confidence for Daredevil Born Again?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, guys.
I don't have.
You have confidence in
I have confidence. So specifically, they were making the
man
show.
to live life
Listen,
with so
listen,
much hope.
listen.
This guy here.
The
So-
DC universe killed my
They
optimism.
were they were making the show.
Love him. I love you.
They had half of the show filmed, and then they scrapped the whole show because apparently you didn't even see him in the suit until like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think
They scrapped the whole show, and then what they did is they said, "Hey, those Netflix series, we're keeping them canon. We're bringing those in."
I think they kept some footage from the.
I'm sure they kept
Yeah.
some footage, yeah. But like the whole show was reworked. So now you have
they
Daredevil.
fired their screenwriters and
Yeah,
they
so you have
started over.
Daredevil, you have Kingpin, you have
A lot of people
Bullseye,
coming
you have Foggy, you have wow, I just blanked her name.
Karen?
Karen.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are back. All of them had the continuity
Which they
of the
weren't
show.
going to be back,
No, none of them were.
which was
I
dumb.
would be so sad if I was playing Karen or Foggy and I didn't get the call. And they're doing more seasons of Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's so sad. I mean, Charlie Cox is coming back. You'd think like,
Yep.
hey, I'm his best friend. What's love interest?
What's ludicrous to me is at first they were just going to throw away that Netflix series as if it didn't exist. That is ludicrous.
One of the
That
best
is
pieces of television
stupid.
ever
It
created.
is. So now all of those are canon. They're keeping
It's
those
so
in.
annoying that these studios think that that's okay. Like to just take some actors from this project and create a new one because people are attached to those actors in that role, but then the story doesn't connect at all. Like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Either
100%.
recast it all and start over, or just continue.
The
Or
actor,
do something new. There's new
Make up
ideas
your mind.
also.
Yeah,
the actor better be dead if you're not.
Yeah.
If you're not bringing him back to
Something
something like that, like that's the only excuse, or what? I mean, there has to be like the actor not wanting to come back.
Yeah, in which case we clone them and then say
Hey.
it's 200 years later and then
resurrection will happen. But I just think
You're
it's
totally right though.
It's so frustrating because if Disney makes a terrible season of this show, then I have to fight tooth and nail to say that it's not a part of Daredevil.
yeah,
Yeah.
because Daredevil's one of the best shows ever made.
I love Daredevil.
Yeah.
Punisher is also canon. They're taking that in as well, the Netflix series. So
And Punisher is a really cool show too.
from the trailer, it seems like the right direction. It seems very moody and cool. A lot of cool fight scenes. So I think at the very least, they're keeping that aesthetic and they're trying to do that. And apparently Kevin Feige's been very hands-on to keep it.
Well, I mean,
what
he
it
has to
was.
because he keeps showing up like a year late, and they're halfway through all the projects, whether it's Blade or Daredevil, and then he's like, "Oh man, we gotta cancel
I
this."
think,
Yeah.
well, you were saying earlier too, I think part of that too was the Disney overhaul. Like the guy who they hired after was because Bob Iger left. They had someone else who fucked it up, and then Bob Iger came back to fix it. That guy in the middle is the one who said we need quantity,
Mhm.
and that's when all of this stuff got tanked. Like everybody talks about it. There's maybe one good Marvel movie to reference him last year.
That's
Maybe
pure.
if
That's
you're-
pure businessman mentality with
Yes.
no like artistry in the
No,
thought
it's
process.
and that's why Pixar got muddied. Like it's money, money, money.
What's the actor's name who plays Kingpin? Vince.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, so he was saying in an interview that this version is just as brutal, if not more so, than the original series. And I immediately sent that to Andrew and said, I don't know if I believe him.
I agree with you. I mean, he said
So-
there's stuff he couldn't believe they that made the final cut, and he said like one thing in particular that his character does, and I'm like, in the Netflix series, it's like R-rated. You like smashed a guy's head in with a car door.
So-
I don't believe it's going to be better.
I think it'll be the same. It's the difference is if they show the violence. Because you can do anything you want off camera of him cracking skulls and doing things. The difference in the Netflix show is that they showed you everything. They showed him doing it, which is way more impactful because like, no, he's fucking murdering this dude.
Yeah.
But they said he's going to be as intimidating. They're keeping all the stuff from Echo. So they're trying to really build him as this linchpin. And a big part of the season here is he figures out who Charlie Cox's Daredevil really is, Matt Murdock.
He's kind of goofy in Echo.
Well, it's Disneyfication.
Yeah. But that's what I'm worried is going to happen with
They
this.
keep saying I feel like they wouldn't be making such a point to tell you that
Like-
we're keeping the mood of this Netflix series if they weren't specifically doing that.
They
No,
want
I
us to
think
click
that's
on it.
exactly what they would
I think
do.
they would do it 1,000. I think they've done it
Absolutely.
before.
I trust in Feige, man. I don't know.
That's
why.
what they told us Echo was going to be.
Dude,
But
Echo's
it's the
Echo's
TV.
fine. It's underrated.
Like telling us that Flash was going to be like the Flashpoint storyline when it really just cherry picks like a few key elements and tells a totally different story. They're not averse to doing this, pretending that it's related in some way.
DC is not for sure.
Or even actors, directors, studios saying that they shot things practically when it's all CGI. Like
Yeah.
studios lie about storylines, how they did things.
Kevin
what
would
happened.
not lie to me.
They deflate their budgets to make it seem like their movie was more of a success than it was. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
you hear that it's 300 million, and then the movie comes out, and they're like, "Actually, let's change that number on IMDb. It was 210." Like,
Yeah.
Everything else was marketing. It was
Yeah.
marketing. I
I'm
mean, you saw
very
the
up-
trailer. Maybe that worked.
The trailer
but
is
I
good.
thought the trailer for Echo was freaking phenomenal. And
It was.
I don't think it stood up to the actual show. So I'm a little worried.
Well, hopefully they'll release it soon here so you guys can watch it officially.
Yeah.
But I was very happy with what I saw. Also, they just straight up show 4 outfits like immediately. Like he has all
Yeah.
those different cowls. Like it's
one of them
it's
is from
cool.
She-Hulk, I think.
You got the She-Hulk one. You got his gray one, his white one, his gold one, and his red one.
Yeah.
So the gold one is OG. That's one they showed in She-Hulk. Red one, obviously. And then technically the white one's like his assassin one, I want to think.
So does he know which one he's putting on?
That's funny. That's actually pretty
How
funny.
does he know that the colors are coordinating?
Yeah, man.
You can.
Wouldn't you just have the same suit so you don't mess that up?
If he just needs it to, so he has to always set off smoke alarms so it rains, and then he could see everything in vision.
Hey, that's from Daredevil 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Daredevil like can canonically like whatever reason they want to make up smell colors because of the pigments and the sense of the pigment in the dye and stuff.
It's
My bad. Obviously, that was the answer.
Maybe he can taste them. He like licks the suit and he's like, "That's the red one."
I think he
Tastes like banana.
he has like a scratch and sniff on every suit.
Snozzberries taste like snozzberries.
That's hilarious.
I just picture, that's basically that.
All right, moving on.
We don't have anything important left.
We can skip that.
Well, what are you guys most excited
about?
for?
All the Marvel stuff.
Did you already go past it?
Look at all the concept art on here.
So these are their new rides because they're opening a new park. So those are the concept arts for.
Wait, where are they opening a new park?
I believe it is California. It's Disneyland.
Yeah, and they're doing that's all I have on here.
The last thing they opened an Avengers campus, I think, a couple years ago.
D23 Marvel announcements.
Really cool. I mean, one of the big things is the picture they showed. Well, they did even an interview, I think, with the Fantastic Four cast on set.
This one here.
They showed the Fantastic Four cast on set. Evan Moss-Baccarin.
They showed the trailer
Vanessa
also.
Kirby, and
Oh yeah, so list.
Yeah, these are all the things they're making.
Pedro Pascal.
So they also the final season of What If season 3. They're going to actually have it tie back into What If season 1, which seems really cool.
Yeah, they're doing What If season 3 and doing Marvel Zombies, which is they already did an episode of What If on Marvel Zombies, but they're going to do
season
like a whole like mini series or something on Marvel Zombies, which is a Robert Kirkman storyline in Marvel. It's
pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This isn't like a concise list.
Oh, the Fortnite update, guys. New chapter of Fortnite with the Avengers. They got
Doom, go back and
and
do like them.
Captain America. They've got all kinds of MCU characters coming to Fortnite. Which seems like a weird timing right now. Like, what does Marvel have coming out to like promote to pay Fortnite to do that?
It's just staying relevant. And Agatha technically comes out next week or 2 weeks.
Such a small thing to do that for. Like this should be being done.
Oh, that was the thing too. Yeah. So they showed the Thanos concept art for the ride they're making. You scroll to the top real fast. Him holding his one more down. Him holding his giant fucking sword and his crown. The ride's gonna be cool.
Avengers Land. I thought it was called Avengers Campus.
Who could say?
It's pretty cool though. I don't live in California. We live by Disney World over here.
Yeah, so they did a lot of information about that. Yeah.
That's the Beaver one.
Oh yeah, so here we go.
They had them sitting around a table and they did a little talk.
I am so excited for this Fantastic Four movie. I cannot tell you guys. I am overjoyed that it's finally happening and there's a good team of people making it. And I'm so intrigued by them setting it in the 60s.
That makes one of us.
Really?
I'm annoyed by it. I think like it just seems weird to do alternate dimension, alternate timeline. It'll look cool visually, but it doesn't fit to me in the greater universe.
So we don't know if it's alternate dimension or alternate timeline. It's just the 60s.
They confirmed that it was an alternate timeline, didn't they?
It's a different timeline, yeah.
It's the 1960s. I don't think they said a universe.
Of the sacred timeline?
I think it's 616.
I don't think it is.
So that's the Ultimates universe then? Because either they're in the Ultimates universe. Well, no, it can't be because fucking John Krasinski was Reed Richards in the Ultimates universe. So either it's a third universe.
15 timelines and all this other stuff.
I understand that, but I think what they're doing is they're putting it up.
Trying to.
I think they're putting it in the 60s because it's before any of the characters we know are born. You can't have Tony Stark interacting with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then there's no reference to these people at all.
Yeah, because
there was like, what?
What happened to them? Where'd they go? Who knows? They could have been trapped in the negative zone the whole time. There's so many things from the Fantastic Four series that there was like...
Okay, so it says that... this is according to a Reddit thread. It says that Marvel Studios revealed key details saying that they do not initially come from this universe. They come from the sacred timeline and are placed in this alternate universe with the 60s aesthetic.
Yeah.
This is from a Reddit thread, so I think
I like that even less.
I don't think it's been said 100%, but... I haven't heard that it's a third universe. I think it's going to be the main timeline.
Why are you so excited with this? This is a prequel.
No, it's not.
It happens before all of the MCU.
No, you can't call this a prequel.
Why? It's happening before everything. It's just going to open up new questions, isn't it?
No, it's going to... new questions that they plan to answer, though. There's a difference between saying this is the first of my next phase of 10 movies, whereas I'm just going to make this prequel. Good luck, guys. Hope for the best.
Don't let Arron bring you down your hype for Fantastic Four.
Listen, the Fantastic Four, growing up, it was Fantastic Four and X-Men for me, were the greatest comics. Dr. Doom is, in my opinion, the greatest comic book villain to ever been put to paper. Like, he is truly incredible. And
at least until the Joker got put to paper, which actually was in 1940, so I think he predates Doom, just saying.
Doom's better than the Joker. That's a whole we can do into the podcast for that argument if you want.
Fight. All right, we have our next debate.
Best comic villain.
Dr. Doom, in my opinion, is fantastic. He is the perfect merge of science and magic, which is why he's a great villain for Reed Richards. All of the stuff they've been working on, I still have faith is going to work.
But the villain of this movie is Galactus. So how much do we know if we'll be getting any Dr.
We don't know if the Galactus is the villain. We know Galactus is an antagonist, and in the comics, Galactus is not always a bad guy. Galactus serves the need of a universe, and planets have to be destroyed sometimes. So all of
just like people
starting to sound like an engineer. My
main curiosity is how they're leading all of this into the Avengers movies. Because originally, obviously, it was supposed to be Kang. It's not a prequel.
It's a pre-sequel.
It's just a period piece. Does it make it a prequel?
It's a quell.
Is Pride and Prejudice a prequel to Saving Private Ryan because it came like before? No, the answer is no.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not like this is a established universe. But go on.
Well, anyway, Dr. Doom is the linchpin of Secret Wars. For what they're doing, he's always been, regardless of all this Kang nonsense, he would have had to been introduced at some point. He's obviously the enemy of Reed Richards. Everybody knows this stuff.
I feel like they need to introduce the Beyonder, though, because I feel like he's the linchpin of Secret Wars.
So that's the thing. That's what I was about to just touch upon. There's so many layers of deities and entities in Secret Wars that they can't do that. Like, they're going to bring the Celestials back, and they already said in Brave New World, that's where they get adamantium from. From the Celestial, that's where they discover it. They're going to start sprinkling things in they have already.
In Brave New World? I thought that movie, is that in the trailer? That movie hasn't come out.
Yeah, it's been confirmed that they found adamantium. It's in the news report. So adamantium is being found in the fallen Celestial, which leads them to making these new weapons, mutants, all that stuff coming.
This guy's on his shit.
But they need to work on stuff they've established, because you can't tell me we made Celestials and stuff. There's like 3 tiers above that. Of like these deities, and each one creates the next one, and yada, yada, yada.
There's Celestials, there's Whale Poo, then there's you.
Essentially, all you need to know is in Secret Wars, the villain is an evil Reed Richards, and eventually Dr. Doom is the hero and has to save things. And there's a bunch of different stuff in there. There's turmoil, but Dr. Doom is the reason it all happens. He has to be in these movies. Whether or not it's going to work with what they have planned with RDJ, I don't know, but he had to be in these movies, and I think that they're showing him now means that this movie is going to directly kind of lead into the steps they need for that. At least I'm hoping.
Well, they've confirmed that the Fantastic Four is going to be in the next two.
The next Avengers movies.
They have, yeah.
So but maybe they're marooned in the 60s alternative universe and come back?
Or the negative zone. It's the place that Reed Richards always goes, and then eventually when he goes in there, he finds a pocket universe with every other Reed Richards from every universe, and they have the Council of Reed Richards, which is what Rick and Morty jokes about.
That's a really cool plot line.
That's going to happen, and that's honestly what the Kang thing at the end was kind of too, the Council of Kangs, the end of Ant-Man. They have to scrap all that. So either Reed Richards is going to be a villain, or he's going to be the good guy, and now Dr. Doom is just the villain outright.
I think he will be a good guy. I feel like
they're going to go that route.
I think they have to, because also in the comics, technically Kang is a future descendant of Reed Richards, their family. So you have battle back in there for turmoil. So what makes sense is probably Kang is a descendant of Tony Stark now. Tie it in that way.
Are we thinking they're going to have them be lost in this alternate timeline for the whole length of the Avengers run on Earth, and that's their explanation for why they haven't been involved in saving the Earth since Avengers 1?
That,
so since
or
2012, they've
been making all the steps towards Secret World in the background. They've been in the negative zone doing this. They've been over here across space doing this, because there's plenty of things you could do. And then Galactus is a big part of it also, because in the comics, they ask Galactus for help to stop the incursion from breaking both universes.
Yeah, because Galactus is transported off to the battle world where Beyonder transports
And then
them.
also, technically in the comics, there's a future Galactus that comes back, they kill him, and then they use the zombie Galactus skeleton in Secret World to do more stuff. They use them as a base.
So it sounds like this is not going to be an origin.
It can't be, is kind of what I'm saying, because it's an origin of where they get their powers, but there has to be a way for it to slot into their story. It's kind of what I'm saying, because there's all these things that exist, they have to tie it in. Because it'd be weird to me if they do kind of say, here's a third pocket universe, and these guys have been over here doing their thing the whole time, Don't worry about them. They'll be relevant later on.
It just seems like the more the MCU goes on, the more difficult it is to like get started in the MCU. If somebody wanted to start today and they wanted to go to theaters and see a new movie, if Fantastic Four First Steps was coming out this weekend, it just gets more convoluted and harder, which is it's parallel to the comics. And I get that people say that. It's like, yeah, it's getting more convoluted. People are getting revived. That's what happens in comic books. Mm-hmm. But there's a certain way you have to change things from the page to the screen, in my opinion.
Yeah. In my head, this is starting off the actual next phase. I feel like the multiverse thing was a hit and a miss, swing and a miss, rather. They can keep specific little details
in an alternate universe.
So there's still the multiverse saga, but in terms of how they handled the last few movies, I don't think they got the point across that they wanted to, other than, hey, cameos.
That's crazy. I can't believe you would say that about Ant-Man Quantumania.
I said it, guys. Come at me in the comments.
So is Robert Downey Jr. an Iron Man variant, or is he Victor Von Doom?
So that is where it gets confusing, because realistically, because there's so many points in the character Tony Stark's life where he could have diverged into a different timeline. There's so many opportunities. So I'm assuming he just stayed a warmonger and then bought his little country of Latveria, became a deity, and called himself Victor Von Doom, something like that. Because the whole point is that Doom just takes power of a country, makes himself the oligarch, and then can do what he wants to. Because he grew up as a gypsy orphan, basically. So takes on a station of power the same way the Baron lorded over him when he was, And then he specifically seeks out sorcery and magic to go in line with the science he's brilliant about. And that's how he's honestly one of the most strongest. Like, he's beaten Thanos. Like, he's strong as fuck in the comics. Mm-hmm.
The comic panel is so cool. We talked about it the other week where he becomes like God Emperor Doom, and Thanos is like, I am still the Mad Titan, and that's more than enough. And then Doom's like, that would appear, boom, grabs his spine and rips it out of his body. Untrue. That's from Secret World, Battle World. Like, that's what I mean. You need Dr. Doom to do the story correctly. And the fun thing about Secret World, Battle World also is you could bring in, it's the multiverse. Because the whole point of Battle World is every country is a comic. So here's the Old Man Logan universe. Here's the Planet Hulk universe. Here's Wakanda. And everything is an entity in its own little pocket universe on this earth. Most ambitious crossover event in history.
It's literally going to be, the most ambitious. That's why you need the Russos to keep track of this shit. Because it's literally going to be wild.
Other actors are just going to be 100% CGI.
You're going to have Tobey Maguire hobbling in with a cane.
Yeah. We're going to see his face like for 3 seconds. The rest is just CGI.
It's really going to be interesting. I'm also, I think we're jumping around a little bit.
But is it, that's what I'm worried about a little bit, is like, is it going to be like just cameos, or is it going to be like an actual like story that stands on its own that's good?
I think it's going to be a story. I think it's going to be a story that stands on its own, because you still have, like, the X-Men need to come in still. Like, you have so many players and teams that you can kind of build as part of this stuff.
What is fueling your Marvel optimism?
What is fueling my Marvel optimism is...
I thought they haven't put any...
for the comics?
They haven't put any gas in the tank lately.
What's fueling it for me is, one, them actually realizing that they had a bad year and they're pivoting away from it and they're hiring people.
And we know that they're acknowledging that because they said so in Deadpool and Wolverine.
You wouldn't, honestly, like, you wouldn't let them release that movie and make those jokes.
Well, welcome to MCU. You're joining at a bit of a low point.
Yeah. I'm excited because, one, the movies that are coming out are movies that I'm looking forward to and characters I enjoy. Mm-hmm. I also genuinely think Battle World and Secret Wars is some of the best writing Marvel Comics has ever done. It's one of my favorite stories. Obviously, it's going to be a little different, but, like, Evil Reed Richards is one of the best written villains also, because it's the exact opposite. It's like, what if Reed Richards was like a Nazi scientist and experimented on people to get his means? So the storylines coming up that I'm excited from a kid, and that's what their next phase is, are these storylines that I revere and hold close. So that's why I'm optimistic. I also love that they're kicking off with this weird 60s timepiece Fantastic Four thing. And I know you guys didn't see the trailer, but the trailer ends with comic accurate Galactus just like bending down and looking through a building, and it gave me chills.
I've seen the
photo. Mm-hmm. Like, it gave me chills, considering the last time he was on screen, he was a fucking cloud that spoke to you. Like, I just want people to make these who have reverence for the comics and have read them and care. And I feel like this next phase feels like that. They could have made Blade already if they didn't care about it. They could have rushed it out and done it, but they care enough. Obviously, as we saw in Deadpool Wolverine, like, that character never got a send-off, and that character is what started superhero movies.
Yeah. It just feels messy because they have deadlines, I think, is one of the big things. Like, when I hear they undid everything they did on Daredevil Born Again, it's like, okay, now they're rushing to fix it. What kind of confidence am I going to have in the new product? I get that it is nice that they said this is bad. This isn't what we want it to be. Let's just restart
Start over.
But does that inspire confidence for them to like do it again?
It does for me. It's like the Nintendo mentality. Nintendo will just cancel games at any point if it's not going well in development.
Let me put it this way. If you were supposed to have a surgery and the doctor was like, he brought in like all the wrong tools and he was like, oh, man, I spaced. I know these aren't the right tools because I'm looking at it. I recognize it's bad. Let me go back and get the right tools. Are you like, that doesn't inspire confidence in your surgery.
But he recognized that it was bad.
Yeah,
he knows that it was wrong.
It's better than if he just started with the wrong tools.
Well, that takes an expert to know things are wrong. No, I'm cautiously optimistic. More so than I was for these last phase of movies. I've like whatever.
And then they fired the doctor, and then they fired the nurse.
So, how do you feel about the casting of Robert Downey Jr. coming back, and then also the Russo brothers? I'm assuming you like the Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers make sense because they fix things.
Yeah, I was talking to Andrew before it was announced that I think it would be a good idea for them to come back.
I think they finally proved themselves with the Gray Man.
Well, they proved with the Avengers movies that they can keep track of it.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the storylines and little boards they must have at Marvel Studios are probably wild to keep track of all this stuff.
Yeah, their office just has to be like.
So I have faith. I have faith in them because they know how to direct and they're good at directing action.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the thing you asked me?
Robert Downey Jr.
So I'm cautiously optimistic again because it's twofold. It's because I know where they're going with the Secret Wars Battle World stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, a real easy way to fix the Jonathan Majors Kang shit is making Robert Downey Jr. Victor Von Doom.
Why not just hire Cillian Murphy like people fan casted to play Dr. Doom?
Because you don't get that immediate hit of everybody who's seen the last decade of movies.
Yeah, but doesn't that make you nervous though that they're just
leaning on the
because they're making the best story possible? They're relying on bringing Robert Downey Jr. back.
But you say bringing him back, he didn't want to come back. So it makes me think he doesn't need money. Which
also makes it worse, doesn't it?
But it makes me think it's a compelling story for him to actually come back and want to do it.
But he got $100 million for this.
How much do you think he cares about the story when it's up against $100 million?
That would make me want to come back.
But what about
even if I had a bunch of money, $100 million for 2 more movies?
But he gives interviews where it's like, it's not about the money. It's like, I don't want to waste my time doing it.
It's not about the money. Why did his agent argue for like a trailer lot on set and $100 million for 2 movies and a back-end percentage? It's about the money.
I mean for these next 2. Like, he's making so much money in perpetuity from those movies. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like
they always want more. These people and these companies, they always want more.
But he literally will fix their problems.
I mean, I'm not immune. I would want more money too. I'm not judging
No, but it ties into their weird multiverse cameo thing. It fixes we need someone smart who can tie into these other scientists thing. It fixes a lot of problems that Kang has caused in their storyline.
So if he's just a variant, then are we ever going to get the real Doctor Doom? And if so, isn't that even more confusing? Now we have 2 and they're different actors.
People's thing is that comics are confusing, so they think it's okay. But that's, I don't know.
Movies don't have to be.
When they made Avengers and they set out to make this collaborative MCU, they didn't like run to Eric Bana and ask him to play the Hulk again because he was a recognizable face. It feels like that's what they're doing with getting a recognizable face to play Doom and making it more complicated than introducing a new character.
I agree.
I don't disagree. I genuinely see the argument on both sides because I do see how the plan could fix what they have going on, but I also can't lie where I would have also probably preferred just making Dr. Doom from scratch. But also, is there even enough time to build that character up to what he needs to be the guy who makes this universe in Battle World? Or do we take someone who's established, tweak it a little bit so audiences can kind of recognize that, and then make him the villain?
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really do a lot of work on Kang anyway in the time that they had. I didn't feel like attached or fear for Kang.
They had so much planned for Loki season 2 that they had to scrap.
I feel like they could do 1 or 2 movies with post-credit scenes for Doom and then work on Doom in the movie like they did with Thanos, work on him in Doomsday.
Doom again, it's going to be this movie, I feel like. The whole point is Reed Richards talks to the universes. Like, I feel like he's going to make contact with a Doom. Because originally what I thought when they announced the casting is I assumed Pedro Pascal was going to be Reed Richards and also the evil Reed Richards because he's a good actor and he can play both types of parts. And I assumed he'd be acting against himself. the Reed Richards that's evil versus the good Reed Richards. But now I'm thinking they're doing all those storyline beats for Victor Von Doom.
I don't think audiences like that. I think audiences feel cheapened when you have your hero play the villain and the hero.
I kind of agree.
It feels like you're getting like 2-for-1 with your, story and your actor.
Like because the whole point of the evil Reed Richards also, he has a elongated skull because he's super smart. So he basically wears a long bike helmet with a visor. So you don't even need to see him. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be the same guy.
Put the Mando helmet on him so you know he's
Look up real fast, actually. Look up, I think it's the Master, Marvel.
The Master. Is that the evil Reed Richards?
Yes. No, it's the Master or the Maestro.
Oh, Maestro?
Maestro.
That's a different character, isn't it?
No, it's not Maestro. Maestro's Old Hulk.
Maestro,
look up
yeah.
evil. Just
Maestro's
look up Ultimates Reed Richard, please. It's bothering me. Okay, it's the Maker. It's the Maker. So he's the Maker because he makes his highly of type in the Maker. Yeah, there he is. So that's him there with his little helmet, and that's him there.
The helmet off.
Yeah, so that's the iconic photo.
That looks like RoboCop.
Kind of. So here you can see it's extended in the back. That's the iconic photo. But anyway, he's the Maker, and he somehow goes into the negative zone, this pocket dimension, and advances civilization 1,000 years and comes back with these highly evolved life forms and takes over everything.
Look at that picture. Look how out of his league Reed Richards is with Sue Storm.
So anyway, there's a lot here. It's convoluted, and that's part of what I'm saying by just making it Tony Stark is evil Victor Von Doom. You can shoehorn a lot of these details that are important to Secret Wars without having to introduce so many new characters. And I think that's why they're doing it. I think they're swapping out Kang with Victor Von Doom. I don't think they had planned for him to be in it as early as he is. Mm-hmm. And this is just the way to marry everything and still make these movies happen.
Yeah, but to me, it just feels like Robert Downey Jr. coming back is for them to try to fix problems rather than tell the best story.
You're not wrong.
And they recognize that if they brought him back as Iron Man, that people would see that more clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, so that I definitely agree with.
So that's why I'm a little like...
I'm cautiously optimistic because you're not wrong. They brought him back specifically because people would recognize him and go see the movie.
Right.
I'm just
his entrance was epic.
It was fucking great.
Yeah, it was so cool.
I'm just optimistic.
If I was there, I'd be freaking out.
New mask, same task.
Yeah,
because
Taskmaster.
You would just never pick him out of anybody to be wearing that mask. He'd be like the last choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm just optimistic because I want them to hit these storyline beats that I know need to be there for me to enjoy Secret Wars and Battle World. So we'll just see.
So does it come out next year?
Next year is so actually, if you want to look it up real fast while we're on Marvel, look up Marvel new Phase release.
I think while we're on Marvel, I think Marvel's going to be the last thing we talk about.
Yeah, honestly, because next year is Fantastic Four, Blade, and then Avengers Part 1, Avengers 2 Part 1.
Is it Phase 4? Is that where we're on?
I think it's like Phase 6, dude.
What do you mean by Avengers 2 Part 1? Doomsday? Avengers Doomsday?
Yeah, because Avengers 1 has 2 parts. Oh no, Avengers 1. I don't know what you call it. Is it Avengers 5 or Avengers 4 and 5? We call these, or is it Avengers Next Part 1?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I just call them by the colon name because Avengers Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, Doomsday.
How do I know which one of these?
Yeah, so that's the problem. So none of these are real. This sucks.
Nova? Is that why
none of these are real?
Why do people make these fake things?
Because it's clicks, man.
So it's so frustrating. They shouldn't be like
that's
fellas, right?
Yeah, those clicks shouldn't genuinely
it's annoying. Yeah, here we go.
Turn into anything.
See, also that's not.
That doesn't tell us.
No, that's true.
They've been fooled.
Okay, so we have
those are
Captain
shows.
America coming out next year.
Yeah, so next year is Captain America, then supposedly Blade still, and then Fantastic Four.
Next year?
2025 is what they say.
Wait, and Thunderbolts.
Yeah, let me just find the image.
Look, May 2nd, 2025 it says.
So you want at the very beginning, you wanted to talk about if they actually are doing quantity over quality or quality over quantity.
And they have 5 movies coming out next year after having one this year.
They're like, hey, we're doing great. Only one in 2024. Look at us.
I'm in the background just loading the assault rifle. Just, oh my gosh, Daredevil Born Again. Oh my gosh, let's quick get Eye of Wakanda in there. Get freshman year Spider-Man.
Here, I found it. So it's 3 movies next year and then some shows. But some of those shows are animated. So they're doing the Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
Movies.
Yeah,
so the movies next year are Captain America Brave New World, February 14th, Thunderbolts, tentative May 2nd, Fantastic Four First Steps, tentative July 25th.
I'm shocked.
Blade, tentative November 7th.
That's 4. I'm shocked that they have Fantastic Four coming out so soon. So Fantastic Four and Blade, I feel like are kind of question marks.
Again, Fantastic Four needs to fucking come out because it's setting off whatever cosmic thing they have to do. You need that movie to come out because you're going to have the grounded movie of Brave New World.
2026 is supposed to be the
part 1
of the Avengers.
Doomsday.
I can't call it part 1.
Doomsday.
Secret Wars. Doomsday. Yeah, sorry.
Doomsday. Doomsday. He's like
Secret Wars. Part 1.
The titles for the Avengers movies are not great. They need numbers in them.
I like them.
No, they need numbers. I feel like because this is Avengers 4 and 5. Yeah. Right, this would be Avengers 4 and 5. This is Avengers 4 Doomsday.
If you count Infinity War and
part 1, part 2. So Avengers 5 Doomsday.
I don't need numbers because I lived through when they came out. Like I remember when Infinity War coming out before Endgame.
Right. Because we kind of just naturally know the order of them. But numbers would help people just coming in.
If they're going to make 20 Avengers movies, I see what you're saying. Because eventually it's going to be like
Avengers old age.
They're avenging their taxes.
And then they're going to make a prequel.
You mean
the first Avengers?
Avengers Prometheus. Avengers Covenant.
But yeah, so those are all
and
next
Kraven's
year.
supposed to come out at some point. That's a good one.
Kraven and Venom come out this year technically, but we're not talking about those.
Kraven may come out this year. Let's be real.
It's got a Christmas or Thanksgiving release.
No, I think it is coming out because it was supposed to come out last year and they pushed it.
It was also supposed to come out in like the first half of this year as well.
Well, now they have a trailer. Well, they pushed it for Madam Web. Because that movie had to come first in their timeline. CPR the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was supposed to come out.
That's literally my Letterboxd review. Did you know that?
No, dude.
In my Letterboxd review says 1 star, CPR the movie.
That movie.
It's not even good CPR.
No, it's also a lesson on how fireworks don't work. So yeah, those are next year. And then also next year is the animated Spider-Man and Daredevil is next year, the show.
Well, I guess
Agatha's the only thing this year's show was.
Realistically, Fantastic Four might be the movie I'm most excited for next year, from Marvel specifically.
I think it is. Mm-hmm. Honestly, after the Brave New World trailer, it looks like Winter Soldier, like entirely in vibe. I'm pretty optimistic. And the fact that they're actually doing Red Hulk and doing the leader and tying in the old Hulk movie is fucking bananas to me.
And they're doing the Serpent Society as well. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, that's Giancarlo Esposito is the leader of the Serpent Society. It's going to be wild. It's going to be good stuff. Also,
so optimistic.
We need to have you. We need to have you on the podcast more often. Andrew and I have gone a little too far into the negative side of things.
Or sour.
So for me, Infinity War and that storyline, it's like from the 70s or whatever. It's an older storyline that is great. Secret Wars, they reprinted in like the 90s. Someone retold it. So I read those. Yeah. So I'm just so much more attached to their phase they're doing now.
They did it in 2015 also.
They did it, in 2015, I think they did no, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the 2015 one is the one I read.
That's the newer version.
So good. Also, all the tie-ins with like the lead up to the Maker and stuff. Really amazing run. But I just know more about what's happening now, so I'm more excited. Mm-hmm. Also, like seeing Harrison Ford's face on a Hulk body made me feel good in a way I can't describe. But seeing him transform into Red Hulk and it's like the Ruffalo face, it's just Harrison Ford's face is amazing. I'm just optimistic.
And
I am
shaking his head over.
We're on for a wild ride.
I'm just excited about where they're going, and it's not a bunch of green screen. Like Ant-Man Quantumania, that movie is 90% not a real movie.
Yeah, it being back on Earth,
like stripped down,
is better.
And I think last time I was on, we talked about Eternals. Like it has its flaws, but like it feels real. There's real locations and real people. Like I want more of that. So that's why Brave New World feels like that to me.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four even. Like obviously they have powers, but like a good portion of that movie, they're just people doing stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm just cautiously optimistic. They also only showed the Thing so far in a silhouette in the trailer, so they haven't shown like the full CGI model. So I'm also looking forward to seeing what that looks like.
A cool actor for him. I like.
He's a great actor. Yeah. The cast honestly is really good for the Fantastic Four. Better than the original cast from like those old 2000s ones.
Wait, you don't like the cast of the 2000s Fantastic Four? They're so perfect.
I thought they were
good. Chris Evans, Johnny Storm is amazing. Jessica Alba.
Are you guys even alive when that came out, or am I that old?
Yeah, it's like 1999, 2000. Michael Chiklis is The Thing is perfect.
That is the best casting. Chiklis destroyed that movie. He's so good.
I mean, Jessica Alba is good. They didn't use her character very well. She's just like the attractive female lead.
Yeah, it's bad.
But Johnny Storm is hilarious, and Chris Evans has that attitude so down pat. Mm-hmm. And then the guy who plays Reed Richards he's
He's good.
perfect.
Yeah, I think
he is excellent.
That's what he's supposed to look like.
I can't I don't need him in any other role. He looks perfect. He has the white streaks in his hair. He looks good in the suit. He's nerdy, but he's also like he's just right. Like he seems very smart.
I have a question. How old do you think we are? These movies came out in 2005 and 2007.
Oh, the first Fantastic Four 2005.
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier.
How old are you kids?
I thought it was like 2001.
You're sort of born in like 2010.
Yeah.
You guys are like 21, right?
Well.
No, I thought it was like 01. I didn't realize it was already 05.
Yeah. I like the casting of the first.
I love the casting.
Yeah, I think they look the part so well.
And Victor Von Doom's good too, but all four of them are great. Like
the costume for Von Doom is great.
I don't think they've done a better casting with this new movie. I think that movie was better cast.
I disagree with that.
Like they're all so fit for their roles.
Yeah, based off like pictures and stuff, I'd agree.
But
obviously we don't know how they're.
But that's what it. Yeah,
we gotta see them on screen.
All right, I think we should wrap up this episode here. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Schatz.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Bringing the positivity.
I'm excited about Disney. They're bringing me back. They had a bad year, and I'm optimistic to see where it goes.
Hey, someone's got to be excited.
It's me. I'm the guy.
You'll be the one person sitting in the theater for Elio.
What are you guys most excited for, and where does your faith level sit for the MCU moving forward? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We post new episodes every Monday and Thursday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss anything else. We're putting out extra episodes and different types of videos as well. We have a challenge video coming out soon where we recreated shots from a movie, filmed a whole like behind the scenes video of it, and then made a short film off of those shots. So that's going to be a really cool video that's coming out. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Andrew, tell the people where we're at.
We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads. We're all over the place. Make sure to check us out and follow us on there. Go to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating. Helps the show get seen by more people. Make sure you share the show with friends and family, especially those movie lovers and TV show lovers that you know. It'll help the show grow organically and find a new audience. You can also communicate with us directly and give episode topic suggestions if you go to our Discord. Arron will kind of brief you guys on the current rates.
It's a little pricey. It will cost you the low amount of
completely free, the Discord, and you can talk with Schatz in there and let him know about what you think about his opinions for Fantastic Four and
come at me.
But make sure to hit us up in the comments too. Let us know what you think.
I'll be lurking.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching, and
that's a wrap.